Hello, everybody, and welcome to Sim Racing On Live, coming to you live from Bahrain, the virtual Bahrain, in a night race here for round 5 of the 2026 LMU P2 and GT3 Championship, Series 1 of the year-long World Series. I am your host, Rob Milliken, with my Connor analyst and specialist, Woody, on stack with me, Neil Wood. He'll be calling shots with me, and he's responsible for a lot of these cool off-splash screens that you see. We are just in practice right now, getting ready for the last few people to join up here. Should be in for a treat today. We also, as you can see, are using a new broadcast app, so bring that to you with we're working with it. It's really good so far. And Paul Glover, he's the artist and he's the dev responsible for this. He's building it, and a big thanks to him, and a good shout out to Lauren Martin, who actually turned me onto this app. He gave me the link, and I've been working with him for a couple of weeks with Paul, and yeah, this is what he's got so far. It's really fantastic. So let's talk about these cars a little bit. Woody, what do you got for us?
Well, welcome everybody to Bahrain. I won't be rolling my R's. I'm not as good as you with that, Rob, but we are here with the P2s and the GT3s tonight. We will be using the ELMS P2, which has got around 600 to 590 horsepower. It's slightly more powerful than the Le Mans version of the P2, so I'm sure the drivers actually appreciate the extra horsepower. The GT3s, not much can be said about the GT3s. They are GT3s, but they are lower powered than normal because these are the Le Mans versions of GT3s. So we've got cars such as the Aston Martin, the BMW M4. We haven't seen any Corvette Z06s out on track. Ferrari 296, a nice and noisy Ford Mustang, and the Lamborghini Huracan is joining us as well. We've also got the Lexus, the McLaren 720S, Mercedes AMG, and the Porsche 911. Now, they do have a little bit of a choice with tyres, but if you haven't paid interest to endurance racing, it's not like Formula 1. The colours of the tyres are a little different, but it's not like Formula 1 where the softer tyres are less durable than medium tyres. It's all about track temperature. So softer tyres will warm up a bit better than medium tyres. P2s don't have a lot of choice with their tyres, so they're kind of stuck with mediums. We don't really expect any rain than we had last week, Rob.
No, I think we got clear skies ahead of us for this night race. So yeah, I think the weather should be good. The track though, I got the track map up there now. You can see we've got 15 turns here at Bahrain. A couple of tricky ones. That turn 10 are really tight kink inside in there in sector 2. Really tricky spot, and a good spot for overtaking there down that last little bit of straight. Then turn 11, when you go sweeping right-hander up the hill, it's really important to get on the right apex there so you can get on the gas early to navigate through 12, and that 13 coming out of that good to go down that other preliminary straight. There's like 3 big straights and 1 small straight, surrounded by a couple of hairpins, some crazy turns. So yeah, we're in for a treat today. Let's look at some of these scores. Leading the LMU class right now, and also leading the World Series, as this is round 1, as Woody so gracefully pointed out to me yesterday, is Nick Westy with 153 points. You can see Philip Fischler right behind him, 142, and then Tanner Selby, 126. Guido Neves is in 4th with 110, and then Lauren Martin is in 5th, and you can see the remaining top 9 there for scores. As for GT3, those guys, we have Lars Hegman leading the pack with 140, and 10 points behind him is Grant Jones right down there, 10 points off. Then we got Dino Pierra, 121 points. Lewis Middleton in 4th, and Hugh Smith in 5th, and you can see the followers up there as we get down. Now remember, for this series and the whole World Series, there is fastest lap points. There are ways to chip away at some of these points. And for the most part, fastest lap you get 1 point. Fastest lap of the race you get 1 point. So you can kind of sneak your way around as you go there. familiar with some of these app features. As you can see, we got the driver box. This is a direct result of LMU being so busy. The 397 guys, they're working on the game. They haven't had the time to work on the broadcast app. So Paul over there at ADRR, he's developed this thing. And I think British Sam has also been chiming in. I don't know if British Sam, Woody, is British Sam part of the 397 team at LMU? Do you know him? You might be familiar with him in the LMU thread there about the overlay. He's chimed in there a lot, Paul.
No, I'm not familiar with the name at all, but they've done some good work with this. I'm running it myself, and behind the scenes, you can kind of see like the events of things that are happening on track. So we've got access to, you know, if something happens on track, we can switch to it straight away. That's a really good feature. And as you say, Studio 397 had to kind of abandon their overlay because WEC doesn't use the overlay that we've been using for the first 4 rounds. So they've now got to develop what they now use in 2026. So I'm sure the tools will get better, but this tool is a good replacement for now.
Yeah, I'm really happy with it so far. I love the fact that everything is right in front of you. It's got a couple different tabs. You can bring up different apps, spread them out around your desktop. So really handy. And as you can see, we now have energy displayed. I'm going to set that up to auto cycle. We don't need a lot of that stuff, but you will see about a 5-second gap. You'll be able to tell tires gap their time. Also, the fastest lap times will pop up on these guys with this app too. It's pretty slick. So we're kind of learning it as we go here, so we'll all figure it out together. You can see Rizzo just did it too. Oh, so when they cross the line, you get their current lap. And if it's one of the fastest, it'll be in purple. So there's a 1:48.8 for Westy just put through. So as they cross the line, you can see their times come up as well. So pretty good stuff here. As we wind down here, we got about 3 minutes to go to quali, I believe. So we are winding down this practice session.
In terms of what we're doing this season, this is a bit different for what we normally do at SRO Sim Racing Online. We normally have 6 race championships, but this is extra special. We're having 8. We've got 2 bonus rounds. So we had a Le Mans special event last 2 weeks ago, which was mega fun for us watching. I'm not sure for the guys who are driving, but we've got some rounds coming up. We are now under the lights. It doesn't seem like it at Bahrain, but we're under the lights in night time. It's slightly cold temperatures as we might have expected, but it looks like daylight as far as we're concerned. But what rounds have we got coming up, Rob?
Next up, we have Algarve. We will be that will be the last race in this time zone. The times is going to change on the 29th for the Euro. We already changed, so got thrown off on that aspect. And then we have Circuit of Americas we're going to finish with, and then I believe it's Interlagos, isn't it? Is the next one? Or let me bring up.
Now we've got Sebring, and then we got COTA for the last round.
Sebring and COTA after Algarve, which is next. So, yep, 3 races remaining after this for Series 1 here. So, back into that as they wind around.
So we are using the endurance layout. This course, I believe, has 3 layouts. One of them, I think, is a particular popular one, which is the outer circuit, but I don't think WEC run that. So this is the endurance. And I think there's a shorter layout, but I can't remember the name of that one. But this course, as you described, Rob, 15 or so turns. They've got lots of turns which I don't personally like, which are like late apex turns, and then cutting into the apex. So that might provide some good racing. And as you say, we got about 3 long straights and maybe 1 short straight. But heading on to the main straight, I think is going to be the main passing place that these guys are going to hopefully overtake into turn 1.
Right, those last 2 straights, it's so important to get a jump on that apex for that final turn 15. You can see he just went around. That was on turn, I think, 3 or 4 there. That was not another tricky one. I want to, where is that track map? I want to take a quick look at that. Yeah, Okay, yeah, it was turn 4. So 4, 5, 6, that little S area. Then you get into super tight 8, 9, and 10. That turn 10 is a tricky one. So we'll keep our eyes peeled around that area. Usually that's where the incidents start. And you can see too, I like the little track map here. If I click on a driver who's out, it'll put the circle around him. So blue is the PT2 cars, and G, of course, are GT3. So that is how you determine through those two. As you can see now, I'm focused on Matej. Give you this little driver box here.
So far this season, with the championship, we've had the first 4 rounds, and as you noted in the points, Rob, it's very close, and particularly in the P2s, it started off with Nick Westy kind of dominating in the P2s, but we did have Tanner Selby getting better and better every single time he went out, and he came away with the win last night with an absolute stunning drive through the rain at Le Mans. So we're seeing it chopping and changing with a couple of people having a little bit of a bad luck. We nearly saw a change for the lead right at the death. We had on our monitors the virtual energy of some of the drivers, and it was coming down to the 1 to 2%. And the leader Lars Hagman in the GT3s just got over the line in front of Grant Jones, I believe. So it chops and changes, and it's going to be very close at Bahrain, I think.
Yeah, should be some really good racing here. We've got a lot of really good drivers here to share that with us as we are now starting the quality session. So it's a 15-minute session. It is private, so we're going to have some interesting views as we try to find them. You can see them on the track map, though, but they won't be visible until we actually click on them. So you can watch. We don't need well, they're all on the mediums. They don't really have a soft, do they, for these tires? It's either wet or the recommended tire. Right, is that how that works?
Yeah, so it's all to do with track temperatures at the end of the day, and I'm guessing these guys have found a sweet spot on the mediums, but we'll see if someone jumps out and tries something a bit different. Right.
We got Tanner Selby. He's out on track. And you can see there the blue dot on the track. So he is first. So bear with us as I figure this out. You can watch his quality time.
So we had it obviously at Le Mans, being a private qualifying session, there was no need for draft or anything. So these guys are out on their own. They've got to chase their sectors and hopefully best their time that they had in practice. But they've got to, with the rules with Sim Racing Online, they've got to do their out lap, they've got to do their fast laps, and they've got to come into the pits after that if they're going to do an in lap. If they crash out on track and they can't get back to the pits, that's it all over.
Yes, we've had that rule in place for the entirety of Sim Racing Online. We are a bunch of refugees from the old Race to Play platform with Tim and Todd. That was one of a kind bit of software that Todd was the developer of that. Tim pretty much ran the show in the front of the scenes, I guess. It was a great platform though. Raceplay kind of brought us all together. We've all splintered off. I mean, the sim racing community is so splintered now with all these different sims, but it's good to be able to get at least 15, 20, 30 guys on a track. Makes it nice.
Kind of a bit spoiled for choice, really, aren't we?
Yeah. As you can see, Tanner, now I noticed Tanner was doing this last week, too. He is all about getting those tires hot.
Yeah, maybe he's taking like 2 laps to get some heat in those tires, because he was really aggressively moving around on the straights. Cause we're looking at the temperatures now. It's around 20 degrees, which is very, very, very cold for these cars. They've got to get the tyres up to about 80 to 90 degrees. So maybe there's going to be some prep laps involved. But they got enough time to get a few laps in. This lap is not as long as Le Mans, so plenty of time. and no traffic to deal with either.
No. Should be easy laps for him. As you can see by the energy there, I want to bring that up. Some of these guys have cut their down for quali. You can see Batesman, he's just got a little bit in there, 50% for Taylor and them. So see what's up with that as the times are here now that Selby is in sector 3 now. So he's down that second to last straight. A little bit of elevation change there, but expect to see some overtaking here at this last turn 15. You get that just right. You get on the gas. If you hit it wrong, it'll throw you out in the sand, and then you're toast out there. All right, so we have
P2s in general have to be careful of those curbs, as you say, Rob. You don't want to ground out on those.
There he puts up a 150.7, and right behind him is outlap. So that other car was somebody out. Well, here comes somebody across. Figure out where they are. Hugh Smith, good job in that Mustang. He's got himself up with a 201. Got the fastest lap for the GT3s. Let's see where Robin Taylor goes ahead and jumps onto pole with a 148. So wait for him to come around as some of the G3s are now coming across. Here comes Bjorn down that secondary straight.
Yeah, it's about the times that we saw for P2s in practice, 148-ish. So Mate Duxtobler has got his tyres up to temperature, and he's put it on provisional pole with a 148.0 at the moment. So I think we're going to see probably in the 147s by the end.
And look who's back for round 5. Michael Rizzo. He was our leader for the first 2 rounds, and he is pole right now for the GT3. So glad to see Rizzo back in action. Putting a good time in there. He's also purple in sector 1, so he is going to hang on to that. The Hagman brothers, Bjorn and Lars, trying to get a feel for where these guys are at on track. Oh, who's putting in a good lap now? Nick Westy is purple in both sectors. Could be his bid for the pole. Comes through that turn 15 and just get that right so you can get on the gas. He's really tight on that. He really came inside. I think he's coming in. Yeah, that was way too tight to be holding the speed there. So purple and purple, but he gave up on the lap, so I wonder what happened there. This Taylor's a little out of whack. But Mataj, look at the time Mataj just put up. 48.0. Off a little in sector 1, but only by 37/100ths. And then he's down 100, so he's up all in all, but not quite going to be good enough for that. Rizzo, 47.9 or 47.7.899, whatever that is. He is down and down.
So he's just coming over the line. He was purple in the first and purple in the second for a slight, and purple in the third. So there's a couple of people swapping personal bests and the fastest of all. So it's not Rizzo that's completely faster around the track. So he's got his work cut out. We've seen Lars Hagman and Bjorn Hagman popping into second and third with a 2-minute 0.9 and a 2-minute 1.3 as well. So he's got his work cut out if he's going to hold on to this provisional pole.
Yeah, as you can see that it was Lars was purple in sector 2 there, and then Rizzo came right back and got a purple in the sector 3s. Who else is getting close there?
Yeah, so right now Lars has popped. I didn't see it, but Lars has popped up to provisional pole with the 2-minute 0.4. So they're only like half a tenth away between each other. There's a slight gap between second and third. So it might just be between Lars Hagman and Michael Rizzo at the moment.
Yeah, you're Lewis Middleton. Remember how many laps did he lead last race at Le Mans, and then he had that just little bit of trouble there. But keep an eye on him as well.
Yeah, didn't Lewis Middleton absolutely dominated one of the first couple of rounds? We didn't see him for the majority of the. I think it was Fuji. In fact, we didn't see him for the entire race because he was just leading and he went from lights to flag. But he had, let's say, he didn't have his best round at Le Mans 2 weeks ago, so he's got some catching up to do, I think.
Right. Hey, I'm glad to see Televitier is in the race. Tony made it a day he didn't have to work on a Sunday. Glad to see Tony in here. He's one of our more consistent drivers as well. Well, consistently fast, I should say. He's an animal. Look at that, Lars. Rizzo back on top. You called it. In the GT3s. That a 2 flat. 0.4.
It's not by much though. What's that? A 100th between them?
Yeah, it's insane. Yeah, you guys are killing it. Because Mataj has pretty much got it out in the P2s. I mean, 148.79 to a 148.8. So just almost a full second faster than Robin Taylor. But now Talvitier is also out there, so I'm curious to see. He's not so good on his first sector there, just plus a little bit. But he's got some work to do there. You can see at 148.
We've seen Nick Westy out again.
Westy's on?
He's come back out. Purple in the first sector, it looks like. Well, unless maybe the broadcaster is not purple. I'm not. I can't trust the broadcaster. It says it's not even a personal best in the first, so maybe he's got some tyre warm up to do. He's got 5 minutes to find a lap time. He hasn't put in a representative lap time at all. So normally Nick Westy is at least in the top 3, so he's got some pushing to do.
Yeah, who was it we saw last week did that? I think it was his teammate Taylor. And they didn't get a lap until the last minute or so. So yeah, we are at 5 minutes left here in this quali session. And we got De Silva and Jones have also joined the server, so they're out there represented. They're both in the McLaren.
So we normally see in the GT3s, we normally see Jones and Pereira nose to tail. They normally qualify around each other, and then in the race they're normally swapping places and working together. So Grant Jones now currently up to 4th, and I think his teammate Pereira down in 8th at the moment.
Yeah, I see him down there in 8th. And then, of course, look at Rizzo just did another fastest lap.
So Westy did put in a representative time there. He did stop out on track, so I think that's best he feels like he can do. 147.9. So 2 men in the 147s.
Yeah, they're pretty darn close, and leave it to Nick to put himself up there. I'm really curious to see if Talvitier, he's probably coming in with not as much practice. He's been really busy, but there he is. 3 minutes left. He might be done too. Just be happy with 3rd. If Taylor can get up in front of him, though. They're very close. They're within a few hundreds of each other. And he's spinning out, too. So, yeah, these guys are finding it a little bit tough there up turn 4. At turn 4 has been claiming drivers there. Tanner's in. So these guys, they only have Pitchler's left out there. He's yellow and yellow as we're coming up on the 3-minute mark.
So I was just looking at the standings from the season so far. Dan Skobler has only actually taken part in 1 race so far this season out of the 4, so he's got some catching up to do. He's outside the top 10. So this would put himself right in the picture by being on provisional pole right at this moment. He's normally up front, but he's only scored 25 points this season, so he's got some catching up to do for the leader of 153. So.
Oh, I was looking at Rizzo. I thought he was going to break into the ones. He's 100.127 hundredths away from getting into the 1 minute 59s. Who else is still out there? Okay, Bjorn Hagman. Oh, we haven't heard the rumbling, thumbling Barrett Erickson. There he is in that Lexus.
So it's good that we can see the virtual energy use. There's a couple of people that have decided just to go out on full tank, whether that's strategy or just whether their car feels better on a full tank of virtual energy. But a couple of people cutting it fine, one of which is Barrett Erickson with not a lot left in the tank. He's going as light as possible. He's currently 7th in that lovely sounding Lexus.
Listen to that thing, man. That's epic. Coming the shorter of the 1, 2, 3 straights, 4 straights actually, counting this one, which is the shortest. I enjoy this part of the track where Barrett is right now, that big sweeping lefty. It's just a great feeling when you hit it just right and you can keep your foot in it and get so much time you can gain right here before you really got to be hard on the brakes for this last turn in the final straight to head to turn 15 where the start-finish straight is. But yeah, with that little bit of downhill right there, it can be lots of side-by-side racing right here. So 47.79 is our fastest lap with Matag, as he said. Nick Westy second, Tony Talvitier third. As this is going to be it. The seconds are ticking away. And that is going to be it for the session. 16 seconds. So Barrett.
There's only 2 P2s that could actually better their time. Pichler and Lorne Martin are out on track at the moment, but currently in 5th and 7th place. Let's see if they can actually improve their position.
I believe they're right together too.
Not a lot of elevation change on this track. So the corners just feed straight into one another. The weird combinations of corners that are very kind of reminiscent of Herman Tilke tracks, who the designer of this track is and big late apexes and blind corners seems to be a characteristic.
Yeah, there's a little bit of evil in there. That is just makes it tough. As time has expired here, so unless Pichler and Martin can change, and that you can see Martin is off in both sectors, so I don't think Lauren's going to improve. Can't see them together, but they are pretty close to each other. Pichler also in the same boat. Both have not had their best sectors. Right, so there it is. I believe everybody's in now. We have a couple GT3s out. Erickson, did he get another lap in? He's still out there. He's coming around now. Final straight.
So personal best in the first. He didn't do that well in the second, but he's going to stay 7th, it looks like.
Yep, he's kept it right in there. Okay, so there you have it. Let me capture these results. All right, let's see what we got. So for your LMP2s, here we're going to do the LMP2 first. We have on pole position, we got the Scobbler, Westy, Taylor, Talvitier, Pichler, Selby, and Martin. There is your top 7. And then in the LMGT3 class,
teams and drivers
got Hegman, Rizzo, Erickson, Hegman, Smith, Middleton, Betson, Pierre Bacon, and Da Silva. So there is your order. So nicely done there. All right. 90 minutes of racing here. As they just got a little bit of time here to get things sorted out. Just about ready to get going here.
I think the drivers should be starting on the back straight, or at least the last straight until the line. The GT3 should be all the way at the start of the straight. So no particular weaving. They can probably drag a brake, which will warm up the tyres through the discs a little bit. But I'm sure that we'll probably see Tanner Selby violently weaving in the first couple of laps, as he normally does, just to get some heat in those tyres.
Yeah,
but,
what's the over-under on that? Let's see. We'll give up.
It's a tactic.
All right. So we will also see how the instant replay feature works here with this app, which is one of my favorite things. So we will see. All right, we're just
The
about
drivers
there.
have already got their bonus points for their pole positions. Good that Das Gobbler has got that extra bonus point. He may need it at the end of this championship as the drivers get going down this back straight.
Yeah, short formation lap. As you watch the two classes come down.
Does look very pretty under the lights, or headlights ablaze. Let's hope for a clean first lap.
Now, did you see that Talvitier got that second place, pole position? So he must have got it together there. And what's Taylor doing in a Ferrari up there? Is he in the wrong LMP2? Is he in the WEC?
Green flag. Green
And we're
flag.
off. We'll sort that out later. There is your start. See, the P2's just gathering themselves for turn one here. No incidents, no dive bombing. Everybody get through clean. Very nice, very nice. Let's check out the GT3s, see how they get through. Right behind there, led by Michael Rizzo, Lars Hegman, and Hugh Smith. Get up.
Yeah, no yellow flags so far. Safely through the first 2 or 3 turns. There was a couple of side-by-side bits of racing. It does look like Michael Rizzo has got away in the GT3s. But Lars Hagman is in close pursuit. It's not going to take an awful lot from the stake. Side-by-side through some of these turns, I can see a McLaren. I think that's Grant Jones further back that's going side-by-side through some of these turns. And as expected, Grant Jones and Pereira are nose to tail.
Indeed, as we expected. So up at the pointy end, we got Lattage. Looks like he's given himself a little bit of a gap. Look at that gap between Taylor and Talvitier. Third place, Taylor and Pitchler. So these three are hanging out together. Tanner Selby, our winner at Le Mans. Now he finds himself a little bit back up the pace here. We'll jump to check out the GT3 battles.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing the top 2 in the GT3s moving away from the rest of the field, and we saw this at Le Mans. Hugh Smith was able to kind of keep them in touch if he had, if he was in drafting distance, and he's just on the wisps of it. But then we got Lewis Middleton that is trying to keep in touch with that Ford Mustang power. I'm not entirely sure what the strongest car around here is. We did see that the Lamborghini was very fast at Le Mans. It's looking like it's the same here, but his brother, Lars Hagman's brother back there in the yellow Lamborghini, is struggling a little in 7th place. But the pack is quite close together. There's only 2, Simon Bacon and Jules De Silva out the back, getting a little bit left behind. But,
yeah, I was just
GT3's
commenting
got
on that.
very, very close.
There was a yellow flag out there for Lauren Martin. Let's look back and see what that was. We'll check out this replay feature. So you can see here. It was just a quick spin back there. All right, nicely done. Just got back on track. That's what created that big gap. As you can see, the GT3 is right there behind him. There is your GT3 leader, Michael Rizzo. And Lars, like you said, he is staying right with him. He's kind of glued to his bumper, and you can see the Mustang a few skids just back there a little bit, trying to keep these guys. Then there's Grant Jones, the mix here. Grant, Lewis Middleton. Guys race for position.
Looking at the lap times, they're about 9 seconds off their qualifying time, so it's taken a while for these tyres to heat up, but we've definitely got a battle for 1, 2, and 3. But Lewis Middleton is heading a pack of about 3 or 4 cars. I wonder whether he's having trouble heating up those Aston Martin tyres, or perhaps he's saving something later in the race as they just see him go off into the final turn. But those McLarens are in hot pursuit.
So I'm checking out the camera options that this provides. If you can see it skipping through there, that's a brand new feature that just came out with today's build. Ooh. What do we got?
There was Lewis Middleton looked like he was very slow on the apex coming into turn 1, and Grant Jones was down the inside. But
let's have a look at that.
But it looks like Grant Jones away with it.
This is what you're talking about right here. There it is. Yeah, it's a little bit tricky. Looks like De Silva's got a drive-through. Check on Ericsson.
It could only have been perhaps start violations, perhaps. I'm not sure that track cuts would have come into it, so possibly maybe a little erratic, or possibly out of position at the start.
I got Fischler and Taylor. Just that 2-second gap, or that 0.2 right on his tail there. Come down that start finish straight. Okay. I'm starting to figure out the cues here. Guys are all within a second of each other here. Bjorn, Dino. It looks like 4th through 7th. And so we switched to the outside. They're trying to get a spot there. Was that Jones? Nope, Jones is out in front. That must have been Piera in the other McLaren.
Yeah. Jones has got past Lewis Middleton. It did look like Middleton was stacking a few people up, and they were possibly getting slowed down. So at this portion of the race, Lewis is possibly lacking a little bit of pace. Both McLarens have now got through.
Yeah.
And Bjorn Hagman in that Lambo is looking for a way through as well, with Barrett Ericsson on the back of that group.
That's what it looks like from Barrett. Excuse me. Bring it up the rear there. Ollie Bateson. So to the pointy end, Matej got a 3-second gap now. The battle looks like it's Fischler and Taylor here battling for a 3rd position. Taylor currently holding that spot.
So we did quiz at the start whether Robin Taylor was in the wrong car. I think, looking at it, he is in the correct LMP2. He would soon notice if he was in the LM version of the P2, because he would be lacking in horsepower, but he's definitely on the base.
Look at those lap times, man. They are all right there. Really nice. So it's interesting to me because of I'm just the icon on the tower. So I don't know if that is because it's showing a Ferrari where everybody else just has the P2 star. And that's what kind of threw me off. So Might just be something going on with that. Remember, this is all in beta. There's a link in the description of the video if you want to check this app out. Paul's site. Give him some love. He's really been working hard day and night 24/7 on this thing, and it's really coming along. So give him as much encouragement as you can to keep this baby rolling for us as a community. You know, we are the ones that are be able to celebrate this app. Good stuff in here. Pitchler's just be able to stay with him. It's almost kind of falling behind on the straights, and Pitchler's able to catch him a little bit in the turns here. Here's this big left sweeper that I really like. Meanwhile, Middleton in the middle between Bjorn Hagman and Dino Chiara. He's holding his own though. Bjorn been trying to get around, but Lewis is hanging on to 6th place there. Like you said, maybe just had a little bit of a moment, but it does seem like these guys are able to just climb up his tail there in the twisties.
Yeah, it looks like the Aston can get better exits, a better traction out of some of these turns. So he's a match for the McLaren in front. He seems to be able to, as he goes for a dive down the inside on this late apex turn up here, which I always hate because I can never find where to turn in. There's a little contact on the outside.
Yeah,
but this
a little
sweeping
bit.
Section, this absolutely burns tyres. If you're not too careful and you go through this section too harshly, you can rub that front and wear it out quite quickly. So that left front is going to take an absolute beating. But he's back in front of, I believe that's Pereira that he's battling with.
He got around him, didn't he? That Ericsson's just staying with him there, and Bateson just out of reach behind there, and Rizzo puts in another ripping lap. Let's check that gap on the GT3. So the other Hegman brother, Lars, trying to stay with Rizzo, and Hugh Smith right there. So these three in the GT3 are keeping him honest up there, which is good to see. As the P2s are pretty much all spread out now. Tanner's moved up 5th. Pichler's some 3 seconds in front of him. So you can see him there just ahead. And then Lauren Martin sitting behind. Wow. My whole lifetime.
Yeah, it's a close battle between Robin Taylor and Pichler there. The closest P2s at the moment. Looks like Pichler has got a bit of better braking ability. And he's able to stay with him. So I reckon this is probably going to go until the first pit stop. So he's going to be the first to dive into the pits. We're only expecting probably about 1, maybe even 2 pit stops. We're going to keep an eye on that fuel number. But of course, GT3s work on their virtual energy, and P2s don't have to worry about that. They just have to calculate their fuel numbers, their physical fuel numbers. So we'll keep an eye on those fuel tanks to see if anyone's going to do anything particularly different.
This is the P2 battle at the moment. The rest are spread out. As Matej continues his gap.
I did see on the list that we did end up with Gilles de Silva. Did have a drive-through penalty, but it looks like he's been DQ'd. So I wonder whether he didn't notice that he had a penalty and he couldn't actually serve it in the first 3 laps. But unfortunately, he is our first retirement. And Lorne Martin is a DNF as well in the P2. So I wonder what happened to Lorne.
Yeah, let's see if we can find it. Here is Lorne Martin. There was a yellow. Maybe this will show us. So he spun. This is his second spin, and it looks like he just retired it from there. So there you have it. That's as much as we can give you. 2 drivers out in the first 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Right. But this Lewis Middleton battle seems to be the most interesting part of the track, or the battle going on right now. These GT3s, it's this mid-pack for 6th. This Dino
Yeah,
Vieira.
that McLaren is not going away. He's back through, and that Lamborghini is threatening in the distance. Not the distance, rather up his bumper.
Yeah.
It's then you can take a slight mistake from Lewis Milton before Bjorn Hagman behind is through. He's just waiting for a nice juicy chance, but now that the McLaren might have spotted that he's now able to get away. Now he has to break the draft.
And he is just all over Middleton. Almost some contact right there. In fact, there was a little bit of contact.
Yeah, that corner is particularly difficult because it's such a late apex, and it's very difficult to find where the apex is. I think Bjorn might have a chance up the end. No,
Woo!
not quite.
He takes a look. Teed up, and this is, of course, giving Barrett Erickson a chance. As these guys fight, Barrett's able to close in a little bit on him. You know, he might get a twofer if these guys have a little incident.
I did expect the track temperature to be going up a little bit because of the cars running on track, but it's staying quite stable at about 22 degrees. So I'm sure these guys are suffering from the lack of grip, but it's been the same through qualification up to the race. So the conditions have been no different for them this evening. But I'd imagine if this was a daytime race, we'd be in the 30s or 40s.
The Bjorn, rather. Yes, Lewis has got to be feeling it. Back from Lewis's cockpit, he's going to have a mirror full of Lamborghini there.
So the P2s are finally getting through some of the GT traffic, which has split some of the battles up. Fischler has been able to break away a little. It always happens, I believe, is that Tanner Selby? I think Tanner Selby has gone round. He's still in 5th place, but he is way back from Fischler now. So I don't know if that was a self-spin. He headed right off the road. He was it looked like he was supposed to be going right, but the car went left, so it's a bit unfortunate. He's got some catching up to do now in 5th place. The top 3 of those GTs are still together. Rizzo has pulled out about a 2.3 second gap, but Lars Hagman and Hugh Smith behind are still within touching distance, but they are at the moment a class in the GT3 field. There's a huge gap, nearly a half of the main straight to 4th place. It does look like 4th place of Grant Jones has broken away from the cars behind. And we've still got that gaggle of cars, 5th, 6th, 7th, and maybe Barrett Erickson dropping away a little in 8th.
Yeah, it's crazy. Because they're really doing a job here.
It's always such a balance in endurance racing. You're racing as hard as you can in the GTs, and then suddenly you get the P2s to kind of come and spoil it a little. But it can wax and wane a little if you're prepared, knowing where the P2's gonna pass. You can sometimes capitalize on it. It can be a little bit of a tactic. So maybe following the P2 car through the car ahead, but it has spread out these guys a little, but they are pushing on. I think these tyres are particularly low grip. We're seeing a couple of these cars going a little bit wide over these curves and dragging them off the track. So.
There is your leader, Mataj. So he's got 8 seconds now on Talvitier. got 6 seconds on Taylor. And getting through the GT3s now. There is Talvitier. Here comes Taylor.
One person I'm not seeing in the standings, Robert. I'm not seeing Nick Westy. Something must have happened to Nick Westy just before the race because he's not actually in the entry order. So Nick Westy did qualify 3rd.
Yeah, what happened to Westy?
Whether he's having some technical problems.
I'm looking through the event list and I don't see his name anywhere. Like if he crashed out, we would see him. Well, he's not even on the leaderboard. So he must have had a glitch or something.
He should still be able to join with these guys. That's the battle between this McLaren, Aston Martin, and Lambo. It's still raging. It looked like Pereira had to go very defensive down to turn 1 because Lewis Middleton had the run, and he's got the run on this short straight.
Going for it now. Look at this. He's got a nose. Oh, and he just gives way, but he's getting the inside. He's got that little bit of room there.
Yeah, he's got the inside for this next one, but he's not got the inside for the next one.
And Bjorn spun. Through all that, Bjorn was going to pick up the scraps, and he just spun out right behind him. So we'll take a look at that in a minute here. After
This is more like touring car racing than GT racing, side by side through most of these turns. And I think that Bahrain does lend itself to side by side running. You might be up the inside of one turn, but you're going to be on the outside to the next combination. So there's a good battle between Lewis and Pereira here, but it is dropping them back from Grant Jones. It's gone off into the distance, and now the Lambo is now behind Ollie Bates, I think.
Yeah, he lost it all the way back.
Bjorn Hackman.
Here's what happened to Bjorn as we wait for the replay to load. There it is. So it just spun right out of whack right there. That was right when Middleton was side by side. Oh, and a double spin and missing contact. So very good job to keep himself from getting crashed into there.
Yeah, well, I think Ollie Bates only just noticed that the Lambo had spun in front of him, so he was very lucky to miss. So good reactions by Ollie Bateson.
So Rizzo and Matej Descabla are the 2 fastest laps of the race per class so far. Turned into a 2-car battle now that Lars is out of it. What do we got for these guys coming up? So this P2 race, they're about to hit the traffic zone here. So let's watch these guys weave their way through these GT3s here. About a turn or 2 away. There goes the Mustang.
So that's Pichler and Robin Taylor still nose to tail.
Yes.
They haven't left each other alone, and meanwhile lapping through the GTs. You would think that might spread the P2s out, but it's not at all. They've been able to weave their way through the traffic and be close to each other, but Pichler he doesn't get separated by that GT coming through this turn, which I think is a little easier in the P2s because it's probably full throttle, but the GT's got to watch out for the P2s coming up the inside here.
Yeah, all that downforce. Look at that. He managed to keep this gap under a second through that whole gaggle of GT3s. That's some good driving right there. Good job, guys.
Yeah, limited visibility in these P2s, and even if you're running the game in VR, you can look to the side of yourself, but there's not a lot to see. So you have to rely on your spotter and your radar to really see where somebody is. But we've seen them nose to tail. We haven't seen them go side by side yet, I don't think.
So what on earth has happened to Talvitier here? Look at this gap. It's 10 seconds now. The gap to Matej up top. I think it's just Matej's pace is just insane. I wonder.
Yeah, he seems to be dropping, looking at the lap times, he's dropping about a second a lap. Vitesse is able to keep in the 149, so I think Salviti is either saving the tyres or perhaps just doesn't have the race pace to keep up.
So is this app correct in telling me that there has been no change from pole for the P2 class? It's the order they qualified in. It's saying there's no position change.
Yeah, they've left the line, and there hasn't been any. It's been close racing,
Right.
but it's only third and fourth that had stayed with each other. But the rest of the other cars have just kind of cleared off.
Yeah,
The
Rizzo.
P2's got a little bit of a break now of GT traffic. There's no. I'm looking on the track map. They were kind of free for about half a lap or so. So this should give the GT traffic a little bit of a breather.
Right, we got one to get through still. That's Tanner. Here he is. 2 weeks ago, the winner at Le Mans through the race. He did a brilliant job in the rain. He did. Stelvey. He was truly the master that day.
Yeah, I did wonder whether I wanted to ask the drivers about setups, and I'm probably sure that they wouldn't actually give anything away, but it did look like Tanner Selby was maybe prepared a bit more for the rain, or some of the other drivers were perhaps a little more cautious, but it looked like whatever the conditions, Tanner Selby was pushing on. But these colder conditions, as he has another half spin there, these colder conditions don't seem to be suiting Tanner Selby's driving style. So I don't know if he's perhaps went the wrong way on setup, or it just does not get on with Bahrain.
I wonder if it's track temperature related versus. So I will say one thing, Tanner, he's always prepared. He's very prepared. He'll be the first one to ask for the race details coming up. And I try to get him up there, at least a week before the race for people to practice. But everybody's game is different now. In the LMU, you can set the air temp, but you can't mess with track temperature, not in the server controls that we have through race control. Not sure if there's a way, but maybe track wasn't this cold in his practice. Maybe I gave him the exact times to start for his practice. So anyway, just something to interesting there.
Should shake up the points. Obviously, we got the championship leader that's not able to take part today because he didn't take the start. He won't get any points for this round apart from if he had a fastest lap. But Nick Westy, championship leader, will score 0, possibly 0 this round.
That's most unfortunate, and he was there too. He put in a great lap, and then he would just vanish. So the fact that he didn't come back, he must have some internet issues or game issues. I don't know. It's sim racing, so we don't have mechanical issues like the real races do. We have electrical issues, hard drives, memory, video cards, network.
I mean, I'm sure you've done races where you've been kind of concentrating on the thing, and maybe the power has gone out, and there's just absolutely nothing you can do apart from having an up system, perhaps. But having issues that are completely out of your control can be really frustrating.
So Pierre is still back ahead, I should say, of Middleton. We have an overtake.
I did notice that Bjorn Hagman has had a couple of more half spins and has now dropped even further behind him. And I was just noticing that Lewis and Middleton weaving in a straight line as well. These guys are struggling with tyre temperatures all the way through this first stint. We've got just under an hour to go in this race, and we are not even halfway through their virtual energy, so possibly going to be pitting in the next, I would say, 20 to 30 minutes.
So Fischler has overtaken Taylor. Here's a shot of the overtake. So Taylor must have had some issues there. So, okay, he went off. There was an off back there. Let's look at that from Taylor's point of view. Here we go. There it is. So there's the spin that gave Fischler third position.
Just looked like he locked the rears there coming into the turn one. That was very odd, whether he downshifted too many gears or something. It looked like the rear axle was completely locked up until the handbrake turned.
That's happened to me before, so I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Taylor's having more half spins as well, so I wonder whether he's having some more problems in the car that are maybe technical related, or perhaps, you know, when you spin once, your tyres get hot, and the tyres tend to, if you've flat spotted them as well, they can get hotter after that, and you've really got to be careful that they don't get too warm and overheat.
Got this still. There's pretty good 6th, 7th, and 8th here, or is it 5th, 6th, and 7th? I should say. Keeping it kind of close. Ericsson just hanging in there, but you can see Bjorn has fallen way back from this group. That was an unfortunate spin. That was a really good 3-car battle that was going on there. I was enjoying that. And Dino Piara keeping that gap about a second in front of Lewis Middleton. Lewis maybe come alive a little bit there after seeing a little bit of slow in that first 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, the top three have pretty much gapped these drivers here. 201's is their pace, and the pack behind is in the 202. So definitely a pace difference. The lapping P2s may have spaced these guys out a little bit, but I think they were within a little bit of draft. They've got the wisps of it, I think, and just a little bit of a mistake from that McLaren is going to bring Middleton and possibly Barrett Ericsson back into this fight.
Well, Taylor's
Taylor's coming into the pits.
Yeah, let's see what happened here. This is I think what led to the pit.
So possibly tyres flat spotted, and he wants to get rid of these as soon as possible.
That would be my
Just fill
guess.
up that tank and get rid of those tyres.
And that's indeed looks like what he's doing. The gap just grows and grows. That Scabalar is just killing it. As is Rizzo, the 2 fastest laps of the race. There is Rizzo way out front in that Merc. Lars trying to stay, but you can see the gap is 3 seconds now. Then Hugh Smith in the Ford. Got the 2 Fords in the race. Simon Bacon in the other one. Currently in 10th.
Yeah, Hugh Smith was able to keep with the top 2 in the first section of the race, but losing a little bit of pace, not by much, but losing a little bit of pace in the second part of the race. But he's been around the podium in this first section of this season, so still a good result if he can stay here. He's 5th in the championship at the moment. Got 34 points out of the last round, so this will be 33 points, I think, for 3rd. So you get 40 for the win, and you get 36 for 2nd and 33 for 3rd. That's not included any bonus points, of course.
Middleton just being able to stay with Dino Piara there. And Ericsson just quietly minding his own business, having a great race as Rizzo sets another fastest lap. This guy's on fire. The lone Mercedes.
Yeah, not far away from the 2 minutes. He's down to 2:01.0.
Yeah, I thought he was going to get into the 159s and qualify. Taylor's coming out, and he has fueled it up, and he has new tires, I believe, too. So he is back out. You can see the energy there, which is just fuel for the P2s, but it falls into the same category. So he's got full tank. Here is Rizzo.
So all in all, it took, just doing the calculations, that's 29 seconds added to his lap time that time for the pits. So so if you're coming into the pits getting fuel and tires, that's a lengthy pit stop.
Look at the overtake. Middleton just took it back. He just took fifth back from Piera. On that move, he used the P2 as a pick, kind of.
Yeah, it looks like Pereira was bulked behind that P2 and he couldn't brake when he wanted to, and Lewis just took advantage.
Yeah.
So it's perfect tactics.
Piera is coming back. We'll see now how well, this happened already once, didn't it? So we'll see how the McLaren follows the Austin up there.
It did look like the Aston maybe has a little bit on straight line speed on the McLaren, but through some of the corners, Pereira was able to stay with him.
Got that James Bond power on the straight. Here, let's take a look at that overtake. Here it is. We settle through the. Here is taking fifth place away from Nino Piera. Nicely done. Back to live. He's
I
staying
think
with
we've
him.
had our second retirement in the GT3s. I just saw Bjorn Hagman go round. I think he's called it a day. He must be having some kind of handling trouble because he came into that tight hairpin turn midway through the circuit and he was fully sideways, so I don't know whether he was having trouble with his tyres, but unfortunately that's a retirement for Bjorn Hagman, so it's going to drop him further back from 6th in the championship.
Most unfortunate is here comes the P2 class into this battle. Oh, and it gets contact. There was contact right there. I saw it. Was that Talvitier? He's back in action though. It didn't hurt him too bad.
Yeah,
or was that Taylor?
Like a very awkward. That's a very awkward place to catch. I think that's Talviti that's kind of splitting up this battle in the GTs. But a very awkward place to catch that GT. I don't think that Pereira was maybe very happy with how Talviti overtook there with a flash of the lights. But the battle has now been split up. Hopefully Pereira can catch up on the back of Middleton before the pit stops. When we haven't really seen any GT3s come in. They've got around 27 or so % left of virtual energy, so it won't be long before our first GT comes into the pits.
Sylvie spun. Sylvie retired. Wow. Right before our eyes. They're dropping like flies, Woody.
Yeah, that was very strange. He came to a stop. I wonder whether he perhaps was had a technical problem or something, but he just came to a stop. Whether it was just motivation or feeling like he was too far off the back. I know that you can feel like you're not getting anywhere in some of these races when you're at the back of the field and having constant spins, and you could keep losing that motivation to keep going because you've got nothing to chase. But endurance racing is about thinking about the bigger picture and keeping going, because you never know what might happen at the end of the race. More retirements or more accidents or errors with drivers at pit stops and things like that. So you've always got to stay in the fight, but drivers do get points for when they start the race. It doesn't matter if they finish, so they've still got points on the board, but not as much as he would have hoped.
So I have a incident here on Bjorn. Let's play that and see if we can see what happened to Bjorn for his retirement. think it's like you say, Woody. I mean, there's no damage to the car. He just flat out gave up. Looks like maybe like you said. Hard to know. But that's a couple of retirements like that. But Selby the same way.
So it looks like Rizzo has been able to put in a 2:09. That fastest lap is creeping up as the race goes on, as that car gets lighter and lighter. So he's able to push a bit more. I'm not seeing that track temperature rise at all. So they've got these conditions.
These are the two leaders right there, just barely missing it. So there is first place of each class. And then Rizzo got a little bit first up. I saw there was a little bit of an incident there, so I was wondering what that was all about. Check that out. All right, 1 DQ and 3 DNFs. And I think you're right about De Silva. Joe probably didn't see the drive-through on his dashboard. He's in VR too, so it might have been something he just didn't get the message, because he usually would stick it out. So Lars now some 6 seconds back. So pit stops are looming. Could maybe close the field back up, as they're all pretty spread out now. VTA coming through. Decided to just wait there instead of diving to the inside. Probably smart move. Gonna get through these GT3s on the inside with all that downforce. A lot easier for the P2s there. Good job keeping it together. Meanwhile, here's Ollie Benson, currently in 8th. He's in the lone Ferrari. There's one Ferrari in the GT3, is there?
Yeah, we're seeing a couple of cars missing out of the list of the cars available. No one decided to take the Corvette this season. I'm slightly surprised we didn't see anyone take the Porsche 911 either.
Yeah,
that's a particular favourite of mine. But
mine too.
The BMW M4 is another one that I've not seen too much. I think there's 1 or 2 in the field. At least there was in practice. But I'm not seeing any on the list at the moment, so I wonder if that's maybe one of the drivers we lost before the race. Kuchler's
in for his first stop. I wondered why he was letting those guys. There was GT3s passing P2s. It's like, okay, there's got to be a pit stop. So Taylor in the pits.
Well, that's Taylor in.
Yeah.
That's a retirement. I wonder why Taylor's come in, or why that came into pit and that was it.
Yeah.
Dropping like fries, Rob.
So, I'm curious now. Is there anything on the website? Are these guys chiming in with incidents? Let's see. Wow. Oh, here we go. Here's some information for Westy. Westy lost VR tracking just as quali and did not possible to reset Pimax tracking while game open or it will crash. Managed to rejoin server just before race start, but it just said no vehicle selected, so could not actually join the race. Really disappointed. I was looking forward to this race. Hopefully my teammate Robin can get a good result for Team Black Cat. So there you hear it from Westy.
Oops. Who's going to tell him the bad news?
Yeah. His teammate just bailed on him. And that was really easy. He pulled into the pits like a regular pit stop and then just retired. So hopefully he will tag in. We got a yellow flag from Lars here. Let's check out what this was. Boom. So that was very interesting. Looked like a little bit of a glitch. So we just We just won't know, will we?
Yeah, it maybe thought that he was going over the dirt when he wasn't there, but seemed to have stayed stable. I'm not noticing any difference in the lap time there. 2:01. Yeah, it's comparable. The lap times are coming down a little. Or going up, rather. They're getting a little bit slower as they come towards their pit stop.
So now the battle
is still in the 2 minutes 0.8 range.
Vieira and Ericsson now for 6th. As Middleton has got a nice little gap in 5th now, 6 seconds. So I don't know what happened there. Barrett will be challenging Vieira here. Oh, Descabler, look at that, a 1:48.8. That's the fastest P2, and of course Rizzo with a 2.8 lap.
So we've got 45 minutes to go now. The fuel is coming down. I'm seeing a lot of drivers down to about the 10%. That should be maybe a couple more laps. Looking at my counter here, it looks like the leader can possibly do 21 to 22 laps in its entirety. That's how much they've got to do. I'm not sure that is correct, but it's worth bearing in mind for the end of the race.
He's showing that 7% left.
Tony pits from 2nd.
Kitzler just out front.
It looks like is that an overtake because someone's coming to pits? Barrett Ericsson has got past
Dino
Pereira. Oh,
yes.
yeah, because he pitted. Be way.
Yep.
So that's the first of our GT3s. I didn't see the fuel come down as much. Maybe he's perhaps not cutting it as fine as Lars Hagman was last time out, but looks like he's filling up to go to the end.
So let's see Pitchler now turning that last turn 15 if he's going to come in. Got quite the gap, over a minute to Tony behind him and 32 seconds in front. He's staying out, so got about 7% left. 3% left for Mitesh, so I would assume he's coming in this time around. Meanwhile, 4th place, Grant Jones, well out front there of Lewis. Then Ericsson behind Middleton. So Pierre comes out behind Batson, Ericsson, and Middleton. Got like 19-minute gap there. 19-second gap, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so we have to keep an eye on Pereira and Ericsson because they pretty much came, when Pereira came in, Barrett Ericsson was within a second behind. So when's Barrett Ericsson going to nip into the pits? It won't be long now. I think it's coming through the final corner. Still no pit. So maybe next lap. Middleton's in the pits.
Ericsson going to inherit 5th. Bacon's in the pits. So this gap between Tony and Fisher, something must happen to Tony to make it a minute-and-a-half gap. Something that we missed.
So the leader P2 is in the pits at the moment, so we'll see how much time that Dax Gobbler loses as well. It does seem a long time in the pits for these P2s, so I wonder if it's just pit stop time. I'm waiting for the fuel to go up on the P2 for Dax Gobbler, but
I think he's in now. Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry, he's about ready to come out. That, our new leader, Pichler. Got 3% left. Here comes the Scobbler. That guy's looking at his watch. How much time did you take in there?
I'm not seeing an update of his fuel there, so I'm wondering whether Dax Gobbler is. It might just be the overlays that are not picking that up, but I'm hoping that he has fuel because he's got 1% in the tank.
Right, I see that as well. Maybe it'll refresh when he gets a sector line. Because I'm showing Telvitier with the full tank. Right? And Pichler's got to be coming in this lap.
So Baron Ericsson has now made it into the pits as well. So we're keeping an eye on that gap between Ericsson and Pereira.
All these, there's
Baron
Rizzo.
Ericsson is in now.
Rizzo's in. Rizzo's out. Grant Jones is the new GT3 leader via the pit stops. And he's only got 3% left too, so he'll be in this lap. These guys are filling up. I hope that the Scobbler. Okay, it's updated now on mine. So yeah, he's showing a full tank on my timing now. So it takes a sector or two for them to record the info, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking at Lars Hagman as well. Has Lars Hagman jumped Rizzo in the pit stops?
Maybe he did.
It's now a 7-second buffer there.
Yeah, here comes Ericsson. Rizzo is shown in third. Lars is second. Grant Jones. And Grant's the only one that has a pit. Lars is already pitted. So if this holds out, with Rizzo's speed, I think he'll be able to catch Hagman by the end of the race. 6-second gap, 38 minutes to go, 39 minutes to go. We'll have to keep an eye on those gap times, but Grant has got to come in. I was going to say
Grant Jones was, yeah, I thought he was cutting it a bit fine, but he's now thankfully coming to the pits with 1% left on in his tank. So
yeah.
He should drop back down to. He was a comfortable fourth, I think, so he should drop in behind Smith when he comes out.
And you know, if you don't come in for that virtual energy, it's like, what is it, 100-second penalty or some craziness?
Yeah, it's not worth going that far. I think it's 120 seconds, so you can really ruin your race if you I mean, you can still have fuel in the tank. But if you run out of virtual energy, then yeah, it's 120 second penalty. So Grant Jones is down and should be coming out of the pits in a comfortable fourth, I think, although fifth is gaining.
Yeah, let's see what Lewis...
He may lose fifth.
He's coming across the line now. He's exiting the pits now. This is going to be a drag race. He's just going to lose that spot.
It's going to be close for sixth as well. Here comes Barrett Ericsson.
And he gets him too.
Yeah, that was a long pit stop for Grant Jones.
And then Piera brings them all into the mix, so that kind of tightens things up here. Ericsson and Jones have just under 2-second gap. Bear can hold on in that Lexus. Meanwhile, Mataj, Tavidier, Pitchler, our best remaining P2s. Boy, Woody, it's been an attrition rate the whole series, the whole season. These P2s have just been dropping like flies.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they're the easiest class to drive, but it's we started off with how many? 7, 8, but we're down to 3, which is a little bit disappointing. I actually expected the Le Mans race with the weather and everything. We held on to the amount of drivers we had until about half distance, 3/4 distance, and then all the dramatic stuff happened. But we unfortunately it's not all driver related. Unfortunately, we have had some technical problems with a couple of these guys, so it does happen. It is frustrating, but it is what it is.
So did Ericsson, that pass was in the pits?
Yeah, so Ericsson has jumped, it looks like 2 people in that pit stop. He jumped Jones and Pereira in that pit stop phase.
Yeah, the Lexus. Only in 5th. Middleton in 4th. Off the track goes the P2. That Mataj.
Looking at the fuel numbers, there's only one particular person that's gone and maybe their fuel usage is a bit less. Pereira has filled his tank a little bit less than the other, so I wonder if he's getting different numbers than everybody else.
Yeah, he's down a little bit, and so is Lars, our leader, but he's been out burning a little bit of fuel.
Oh, that's a spinner.
Oh, yeah?
Is that? That's Barrett Ericsson has gone round.
Then overtake. Grant got around him, I take it. Let's see. Let's see what the replay does.
Yeah.
There he goes. Man,
that's unfortunate for Ericsson, because he had done all the hard work to leap someone in the pit stop, but unfortunately he's let Jones back through. But he's still ahead of Pereira, who is going to get large in his mirrors. He's not far away.
Ah, I really wanted to see that battle, though, with Grant Jones on a regular chase down, but not to be. So how's the gap? Still 3 seconds back to Rizzo from Lars, our leader in GT3. You can see him right there in that Merc. He's on a mission now, so I'm sure he's pushing hard, is Rizzo. You can see Lars just ahead there.
Yeah, Lars is dropping a little bit of pace. I don't know whether that's mistakes. I don't think it was. It can't really be traffic because there's only 3 remaining LMPs left on the circuit, but a 203 on that last lap with Rizzo in the 201. So we may have a battle down at this last third of the race. A battle for the lead would set this up nicely. So the P2s are just getting through the tail end of the GTs there, and Barrett Ericsson is going to be have this McLaren for company in quick succession. But looking at their lap times, they are kind of comparable. Fortunately, that spin took about 5 seconds off Barrett Ericsson's time. But he's got going again. I can't imagine those tyres are feeling that great after coming to a halt and holding the brake, but he did have good pace. He was just behind these McLarens for much of this race, but he's able to somehow leapfrogged them in the pit stops, but I'm still looking at these fuel numbers, wondering whether possibly Lars Hagman has gone for a slightly different strategy, because his fuel numbers look slightly less than Rizzo's behind. It's going to be another one of those nail biters to the end.
31 minutes of racing. So, I don't know. Probably be 50 liters.
So this circuit we're using, I believe it originated from the 2023 or 2024 version of Bahrain. This circuit hasn't changed an awful lot since its inception in 2004. I mean, it's been used in Formula One for quite a number of years, and it's a popular track from the drivers, I think. And this is where they did all of their Formula One testing. But you've also got the WEC that do the 8 hours here. But it did have, imagine this, you had the V8 supercars going around here back in the early 2000s. It also had the FIA GT Championship and also the GP2s. So open wheels GT cars, but in the past, but it's now basically a Formula One track and an endurance racing track.
I wonder if the Aussie car, the Australian cars, did they use the full circuit or did they use one of the outer, maybe?
I'm not entirely sure, but it was back in the 2006, and it says that they came back in 2011, and that was still when they were proper V8 supercars as well, rather than kind of the GT3 variants that we've got now. But you can imagine those rocketing around here back in the early days of this circuit. Especially, it would be kind of comparable temperatures to Australia as well. So.
Well, as you can see,
Rizzo, it looks like Rizzo has closed up.
Yes. Yep. He's right there. This is it. This is the battle for the lead. 29 minutes remaining. Oh, we got. Is that Pitchler just coming in to make things interesting? No, it must be the Scotler. Yeah, it's the leader. So the leader and the leaders, all three right there. 2 firsts and a second.
Yeah, the leader of the P2s does not want to get involved in this. You see, he was very tentative and even getting up to the back of this Merc here, because they just want to let them have it. You don't want to get kind of mixed up in a battle that you can't. As he gets through the Merc there, I was afraid he was actually going to run wide, but he was able to split the GTs, come into the middle part of the circuit, and he's got this short straight to overtake the Lambo, so no harm done, and battle resumed.
Got anything for him on this secondary straight here? Really seems to do most of his work in the braking zones. He just seems to be able to out-brake Lars. Got Merc.
They look very comparable in a straight line. They don't seem to be gaining much. You know, he's tucked under the rear wing all the way along the main straight. He's able to gain a little bit on the brakes, but he's going to need to be even closer than that to even have a sniff into turn 1. But he's coming through the section of the track that just kind of folds in on itself, that goes back and forth. So if he can get alongside on one of these turns, he's going to be on the back foot for the next. But he's got the pace to overtake. Is he closing up on the brakes, getting so close under that rear wing? I wonder if he's showing himself in the mirror quite vividly, so I wonder whether Lars can soak up this pressure. You see they're really cutting these corners really tightly, taking as much curb as they can. So these corners go one after another, and then come up to the section where the track just kind of falls away to the really tight left-hander. So you've got to be up the inside quite quickly here. You can defend quite easily, keeping it tight, but getting a bad exit onto the straight. As long as you don't run wide, it looks like he's been able to get the traction down to come up this short straight, going up to one of my worst corners on the track, an apex like, oh,
well, look at he goes to the outside a little bit.
He got it all wrong.
Yeah, he went from the inside to the outside and lost that little bit of gap there. But I think he's going to get him on this next straight here.
Yeah, it looked like Rizzo didn't quite anticipate that Lars was going to be braking there and nearly rear-ended him on that corner. But I think that's Tau Viti coming up to lap them on the. Should get them both on this straight.
You would think so. I would hope so. It's pretty tight right there. But oh, it looks like Lars was making sure that he didn't close in on him, and that allowed Rizzo to just jump right up on his bumper again. So there's a reply in the thread from Nick Wesley's teammate Robin Taylor, and all it is raised eyebrows. After Taylor stated, hopefully my teammate Robin can get a good result for Team Black Cat. And all he got was raised eyebrows, as they are both out of the race now. So, tough day for Black Cat Motorsports, but they'll live to come back another day. 3 more rounds in this particular mod sim of the World Series. And then we'll be on to Series 2, which is that we got to pull it out of a hat. We're yet to determine what the series is. So, that groundwork is going on in the background as well. We've got about a month to figure that out.
Yeah, it looks like Rizzo was able to overtake Lars up the inside of turn 1. It looked easier than I thought it would be. He was able to get alongside into the braking zone and just overtook him.
I wonder if
it
he
was
just
easier
let him have it.
than I thought it would be. And perhaps he probably knows that once you get alongside, there's that pace advantage is really worth fighting and losing your tyres over. 24 minutes of racing to go, so anything can happen.
Let's take a look at that again here. Went to the inside and he just went right inside, and I guess Lars was just like, hey, well done. You got the spot. You got me on that inside. There was not a lot he could do to defend that. He really had that inside slot.
He was always threatening on the brakes. He seemed to be a bit stronger, and he just sent it down turn 1, and that turn 1 has a very late apex to it. So as long as you can send it down the inside, you've basically done a bit of a block pass, and the other driver he could turn in, but there would be a car already there. So did well to get through. But I think Rizzo has the pace advantage. But as I say at the start of the program, he hasn't been here for a couple of rounds. He's got some catching up in the points to do. So this will be 40 points for a win if he's able to do it. But as I say, he's now down to. He's been knocked out of the top. No, he's P8 in the championship at the moment. So he's got some catching up to do in points.
Meanwhile, Matej cruising along with his 48.8 fastest lap. So we might be able to have a race here between Talviti and Pichler. Pichler can close that gap. I mean, it is under 5 seconds. So with 20 plus minutes left, there's probably time if the lap times cooperate for Pichler.
Yeah, I wonder maybe if that was traffic related perhaps, but it did look like Talviti dropped about 3 seconds to Pichler, which gives him a little bit more hope. You can probably see him from his cockpit on some of the longer straights. But I'm seeing there's a yellow flag for Simon Bacon, so what's happened to Simon Bacon? He's got going again. Yeah, it just looked like a very similar spin to what Tanner Selby did. The car went left when he was supposed to be going right.
There it is. I want to try to adjust that. There is some, talking about this amazing app by Paul Glover. I do see some adjustments for the time of the replay. And they call it like a B-roll. And it's at 5 seconds. I wonder if I can make that longer. I'd like to get rid of the brief show of the start and then get it right even before, because we're coming in late on those replays a little bit. Just a little notes we're writing down here to report back to the developer with. Really, really an amazing piece of software here. You just take such the workload off, but have everything right in front of you. This is a great app. So meanwhile, Lars, now that he's lost, you can see his percentage, his fuel percentage has dropped. He's in the yellow zone now. So you were right, but I think
so it's only Lars and Pereira that are kind of skimping a little on fuel than the rest of them. The rest of them, I think, have played it a bit safer. So we're going to have to keep an eye on those numbers, Rob. It might get more exciting in this last 20 minutes.
Well, as you can see, Rizzo's got plenty of fuel. Get VR, Virtual Energy, or VE. Well, first, there's 8th, there's 9th. And that's it. Everybody else is DNF from this spot down. Most unfortunate. Oh, Robin's another update. More breaking news. Robin Taylor. He says, a terrible race for me. I really enjoyed the first 10 laps. But Philip was right behind with more pace, which probably pushed me harder than I should have gone. I ended up losing the rear under braking into turn 1, and after that the tires felt undrivable. So as you suggested, Woody, just like you said, came undrivable.
Yeah, no one likes driving on flat spotted tires. I mean, you can kind of kick yourself when you've kind of come, you have a stupid spin and you kind of come to a halt, but you've locked up all 4 tires and skidded across the tarmac. You get going again, and it just feels like you're driving on gravel for the next few laps. And you're just like, I just need to get these off of my car.
He goes on to say that he pitted for fresh.
Are no fun.
No, and he alliterates here that he pitted for fresh tires, but struggled to get them working. Made the same mistake again, losing the rear after braking. After running 3 or 4 seconds off my own pace, and eventually retired. Definitely a steep learning curve, as you say. These are not the easiest cars to drive.
And I believe they are due some kind of update in like tire tech. The GT3s have obviously been looked at along with the hypercars recently. So the P2s are normally a bit more knife edge. Sometimes that's their characteristic. You know, you have to keep the wheels in line. There is a couple of bugs with it that tire heating is sometimes a little bit of an issue. So if you start heating up those tires, they will continue to heat up, especially if you flat spotted them. So there's a couple of things that do need adjusted. So it is basically this game in hard mode. So these drivers have got their work cut out for them.
As we see Pitchler getting around Hugh. And lo and behold, it's under 3 seconds now, the gap between Talvitie and Pitchler. So the last lap was 150.5 for Tony and 150.2 for Philip. So slowly clawing and scratching his way, trying to get closer to that second step on the podium. Meanwhile, Rizzo, as soon as he got around Lars, look at the gap. His pace is just insane. And I think fortunate for the entire rest of the field that he missed 2 races, because if he can hold on to win today, that's going to bring him, back up closer I mean, he had it by such a margin, but of course, missing 2 races, spent all that. Father, great racing with Grant Jones and Middleton are back at it again. Towards the end of the race, we're going to have a nice little duo here. See if Grant can get himself around. And of course, Barrett Erickson now in 6th place. It's been holding his own back there. He is quite a little bit of a gap back there. You can see it's the P2.
So did Middleton actually pass Jones in the pit stop, or was this a slight mistake from Jones?
Ah, I'm looking.
I think he must have got through in the pit stop phase. So is this is the first time we've actually seen Jones and Middleton on track, because they were together at the start, but Jones, whilst Middleton was having trouble getting those tyres warmed up, and meanwhile he was under attack by looked like every single one of the GT3s. Grant Jones just pulled away, but now it's the opposite way round.
Yeah, he's definitely feeling it back there. That's just about what a 1 second gap looks like. So critical right here, this turn. So many times for me personally, I've won and lost positions and races in that very turn right there. If you could just be a little bit better than the next guy, because it's hard to navigate that turn.
Yeah, some of these turns just drop away from you. You aren't really expecting them to either be tighter on the exit, or just the elevation just drops away from you. But coming down to turn 1, it's a very, very late apex, and as I say, if you die to the inside, you can do a bit of a block pass, but it is possible. And I think Formula 1 showed it. You can go side by side through turn 2, but it is very, very tight, and you're hoping that the guy on the inside doesn't wash wide into you. But then even if you're side by side up the next short straight, it's all game on for the next one and come downhill into this right-hander. So it's a very interesting circuit.
Yes.
It's going to be kind of comparable to where we're going next time out at Portimao. But at Portimao, we've got a little bit more elevation change, which is going to trouble these drivers, particularly when these P2s are going to be lapping them as well. So
we've got some racing going on here, Woody. Pitchler is closing that gap on Talviti. Feel it.
He's now within. You can still see him. You can actually see Talviti ahead of him now.
And then the same goes for Jones and Middleton. So for our viewing pleasure, we've got a little bit of action here for the last 13 or so minutes of this race. Battle for 4th. Then the battle for 2nd.
Yeah, with the 13 minutes to go, I'm not sure anything is to do with tyre saving. They've just got to use everything that they've got. They've possibly saved a little bit earlier in the stint, but looks like Pichler has this thing hooked up and he's able to stay with Talviti. He was, by his own admission at Le Mans, he said it. He took it a little bit too cautiously when it came to the wet weather. I think he said he was a little bit out of practice with it, but in the dry weather under the lights of Bahrain, he just seems to be putting in the lap times. He's not that far away from the lap times of the leader. He's still in the 149s, and Talviti and Pichler in the 150s, so not too far away, but we might have a last lap decider.
Pressure is on from Jones. And here come the P2s. We have got ourselves quite a gaggle here. Oh, Talvitie, the two battles are side by side here. The two classes are only battles of the race right now with this last 11 minutes. Who's going to give here? These guys are all caught up.
Yeah, I think the P2s might be able to get past these guys on this short straight. Middleton has got to be very careful if he lets Pichler through, that he doesn't let Grant Jones through as well. Wanted to turn in, but couldn't. But he's on the wide line of this turn. This tyre eater corner coming up. He was able to stay ahead. Grant Jones tried for the switchback, but not quite enough pace.
Oh, man. That was just dicey. That was dicey. Really good driving by all four of these guys on that little exchange. Meanwhile, Tony has his hands full of Pichler. Now remember, Pichler is the 2025 World Series champion. He finished first out of a year's worth of racing. He was our winner. So Tony knows he's got his hands full.
Yeah, he fully admitted that he said he didn't deserve it, but I was of the opinion he did. Because he was always there or thereabouts in all of the World Series, and all the World Series races that we did were in different formula. So we had endurance, we had open wheel, we had touring cars, GTs, things like that. So it does vary. You have to be consistent. You can't be up and down with your results when you're working on an aggregate score throughout the season. So it doesn't matter whether these guys are in separate classes as well. They're still going for the same World Series championship. So Rizzo is going to be competing with Nick Westy for this World Series championship.
Oh, look at this. It's a move. Talvitie gets it all wrong. Is this going to open the door for Pichler? He shuts the door, but gracefully, in a controlled, gentlemanly manner. He can shut the door on him there. But it looked like Tony just got a little bit of slip there and almost allowed Pichler around, but has since regained himself.
It's times like this where you want eyes in the back of your head, or possibly split screen, so you can watch both these scenes at once. But it looks like the battle for the GTs is still raging with Lewis, Middleton and Jones is right up the rear. Just wondering where he's going to pass. There's possibly maybe going to be a mistake from Middleton just to push him offline. Grant Jones has to take that opportunity, but he's got 9 minutes to have a think about it. You don't want to show your hand too soon, because if you put one up the inside on a particular corner, and I think the driver ahead is wise to it and is able to put in a counter attack. This Aston and this McLaren are quite well matched, but in different parts of the circuit.
Guys make it to turn one, and here come the GT3. Lewis trying to keep him out of the strip scene. Got Grant Jones not giving him any help at all if he can help it. So they're clean through turn one. This little right-hander right here is so tough. So important right there to be able to get on the gas early. Meanwhile, Talvitie's 8.5 minutes if we can hold him off.
Yes, so of course these two cars are exactly the same. It's only a difference in driver and setup, because they are both an Orica chassis. So who's got grip? Who's got the tactic? Is a GT3 going to decide this? Because they're coming up to some GT3s, which is Hugh Smith and Lars Hagman ahead, and it looks like Lars Hagman is falling into the clutches of Hugh Smith as well. So it's all coming to a head right at the end of the race, with about 4 laps to go.
Yeah, if he could get through, Smith just get a little bit of a tangle there with the P2s.
Yeah, that didn't quite work out as it should have done for Pichler there. He caught him at the wrong spot, unfortunately, but he's right on the back of Talvitie, so he's got the pace. So I wonder whether Talvitie is possibly suffering with a little bit of a tyre wear issue. So we cleared Lars up on the main straight, and Pichler is still within reach.
Woo! Meanwhile, Lewis and Grant still battling, and like you said, now we've got a battle, even something else happening here with Lars. Only a second and a half ahead of Smith. So you're right, Smith has a chance here to better his podium finish to second. Ericsson still
further back as well. Ericsson still being shadowed by Pereira. That gap hasn't really changed an awful lot, but still it rages on.
Yeah, under a second.
We've got several battles around the field.
Yeah, it's really tightening up at the end here, which makes it exciting for us. So which battle do we watch? Jones just bettered his last lap. 2:03.3 with a 2:02.4.
It's like Middleton is having to take these corners a little bit defensive, having to go into these corners a little bit shallow, which means that he's slower off the turns. Grant Jones seems to have a bit more pace sometimes off the corners. He just needs to be able to get in a place where he can get alongside. But as I said before, the corners do come back on themselves, so even if you're up the inside of one, it means you might be on the outside for the next.
Smith. 0.4 is the gap. Lars is going to do some of that driver stuff.
Yeah, so it's Lambo versus Mustang. So the only Lambo in the field, hassled by this lovely sounding V8 engine. Hugh Smith goes for a...
It gets the dive. He goes in and gets the
brilliant
spot. Woo. Nice job. Nice job by both drivers. Lars, keeping it real there. So there's one spot.
You catch him by surprise as well.
Very good. Meanwhile, Fischler hoping to do the same thing to Telvitie here in the next 4.5 minutes. If they're catching up to Rizzo. Rizzo with his 20-second gap back to Hugh and Lars. Great pass by Hugh to put himself in second place. Battle gets through Rizzo. Oh, that was it. Middleton on the spin. Oh, Lewis. Oh, let's check that out. Just that familiar spot right there. Crazy.
Yeah, it just looked like he tried to. He was rushing to get out of that corner, and he just stepped on it too. Stepped on the gas a bit too much on probably the less grippier side of the track. And unfortunately, went around. So unfortunately succumbed to the pressure of Jones being under his rear boot lid for the last, I'd say 20 minutes or so. But there is a battle brewing behind.
Yes.
Side by side, Pereira is able to get round Barrett Ericsson.
Barrett coming back. You got anything for him?
So they were comparable in the first stint. They were nose to tail. So this is kind of the swap around to the original positions before the pit stop. So Barrett Ericsson must have maybe been on the back foot, and Pereira has taken advantage.
Let's see if that captured that. Go side by side. On the inside, he was able to go around the outside to Pereira and get that spot. So that was pretty fancy driving there. All right, we are down to the last 2 minutes of this 90-minute race. It's come down to this. We've got 3 battles. Martino. We got Lewis, who's spun out now. It's given Grant Jones 4th place. Lars in 3rd. I don't think he has an answer for that Mustang. I think that Ford V8 power has been able to pull away. That gap's 1.6 now. But we're under a second here with this one. Tony just looks like he's having some wild trouble there. Those brakes are hot. I wonder how the tires are holding up. As the energy levels are critical, but the time is in the favor. If they've only got a minute and a half left here. This is going to be it. Make it or break it time for Pichler. Where is Bataj? Is he going to cross the line? He's getting through this battle. He gets around Grant and Ericsson. So
I'm
they're
wondering
still...
whether they're going to get to the line by the time the clock is about 1 minute to go. The leader is just coming onto the final straight here.
I think he's going to get across the line before time. We're going to have one more lap. Okay. Okay, white flag is out after this as Bataj takes the white flag. We got 1 to go here at Bahrain. See if Tony can hold him off. Ericsson's got 2/10 on Piera, so he's closing in on him too. So we got 2 great battles going on here. Ericsson could reclaim that spot from Piera. Wow. Pick your battles here. It's pretty crazy. Last lap. In there.
I caught a bit of lap traffic there, which is spaced out the 2 P2s coming out this short straight, but he's got the rest, about 2/3 of the lap to continue to close up. It always seems to be a race to the finish where we have a battle. Pitchler is very hard on the brakes. It looks like maybe Taviti is suffering a little. I remember him saying in the briefing that he was possibly having trouble with his brakes in some of the other series. Pitchler was way better, but he's only got maybe a couple of chances left.
Who's going to cross first? Where's these GT3s? Cash is about to take the checker. It looks like
the leader has...
There he is.
Yeah, the leader has crossed the line, but second and third is still not decided.
Right. In GT3 class, it's decided.
One more straight to go and one more corner. It would need to be this corner or anything. Pichler, I don't think, has the braking ability, so it's going to be second and third.
Is he going for it?
Not quite.
And there it is. Very good run. Oh, well done, well done, well done. Meanwhile, here comes Steve Smith. There is Rizzo. Second to last straight. Meanwhile, Grant Jones. So they're a lap behind and they finished. All right, right? Looks like Jones got 4th. Hugh Smith.
Yep.
Lewis Middleton. Crazy stuff. Just about to come across here.
So Barry Ericsson was able to get Pereira back in the last, so he was able to come back to 6th rather than 7th.
There it is. Amazing.
So I've got the points, the provisional points, all totaled up. I'm kind of unsure whether who was it that was on pole. It was Tax Goblet was on pole for
Right.
P2s, and it was Rizzo on or Hagman. Was it Rizzo or Hagman? It was Rizzo, wasn't it?
Yes.
So it's an extra bonus point for maybe 2 extra bonus points because fastest lap of the race.
Here's the Q result.
For Rizzo. So all the bonus points go to the leaders, I think. So that's 42 points in total.
They stuck it out, didn't they?
So that's a good comeback in points for Dats Gobbler that hasn't been here for 3 rounds. So that may move him up a little bit.
Good race, though. Really good race. Returning the pages here. Let me get the rest of these. We're just working with this program here. Ta-da! So that's LMP2 class, just the 3, and then there's the 3 DNFs, 4 DNFs, whatever it was. And then the LMG T3, as the points go, Rizzo, Smith, Hagman, Jones, Middleton, Erickson, Pierre, Batson, Bacon, and Hagman. So there it was, 90 minutes. Holy smokes. That was something else. With De Silva finishing at the end there.
Big attrition rate for the LMP2s this round as well, which I didn't really expect, but it's close. It's tightened up the championship a little. So in P2s now, Philip Pichler leads the P2 championship, which I did not expect coming into this round. So he now takes out the lead. Tanner Selby, even with that do not finish, is in second with 154. Nick Westy has now dropped down to 153 because unfortunately he couldn't take the start, so he will not feature in the results. Then we have Lorne Martin, who unfortunately DNF'd early, fourth with 132, and then we have Bruno Neves, who unfortunately wasn't here today, with 110. And then in GT3s, it's a little more spaced out. So we've got Lars Hagman is now pulling away a little at the top of the leaderboard with 173. Grant Jones has now moved up to second place with 160. Hugh Smith with 151 in third. Not far behind with that Lewis Middleton. A good finish today. Good battling with all of those McLarens. He seemed to be hassled all the way through the race, and now on 148 in fourth. And Dino Pereira with 145. So close in the top 5, Rob.
Very,
for
very
both classes.
close. Yeah, good stuff. So what a race it was today. Look forward to the Algarve in 2 weeks. And as you said, after that, the 2 bonus rounds. And we'll have regular daylight savings time after that. The next race will be off for the folks that have daylight savings changed already, which is me and Barrett and Jones. I didn't see that Jones today. We were missing him, weren't we? Ed Jones, he was missing. But anyway, that's it, man. That is it for round 5. It's on the books. As you just heard the scores, we'll get them printed up too. You'll see them on the site. But for Woody and myself, thanks for sticking with us and checking out this new broadcast app. We're really liking it. So hopefully to see more of that in the future. And until next time, that's it from Sim Racing Online. So thank you, and we will see you later.